I've been listening to the conversations as everybody's been putting forward their positions, and I feel that a lot of what we are discussing around intercultural dialogue is recognising that there are many layers to culture. There is national culture, there are religious cultures, there are organisational and corporate cultures. And I think what we also need to think about are power structures and whose culture is placed more highly and above whose else, because that plays into the role that policymakers can use in terms of how they make change through policy, because it's the redressing of power structures that really would see us come together through dialogue. And I would give the example of the refugee crisis, particularly if we think about across Europe. And I'm not just talking about the Ukraine-Russia war, but the waves of crises that we've experienced. One of the programs that I've been heavily involved in for 7 or 8 years is a huge program of intercultural dialogue through the Anna Lindh Foundation. And that is a program that reaches across all of the EU countries, across North Africa and the Middle East. And it's around trying to develop programs and opportunities for different cultures to come together to form understanding. Because actually, in our process of othering people, particularly refugees in this case, then we are scapegoating. We're enabling and allowing, I think, the worst of our cultures and our natures as human beings to take precedence over actually what do individuals want on a daily basis. They want to live happily. They want to be able to have a home, to have food on the table, to have families. And if we asked anybody in any country across the world, individuals at a grassroots level would say exactly the same thing. So we already have so much in common in our humanity. How do we then bring those opportunities? It's about presenting opportunities for people to simply have a conversation so that they understand the other perspective, because then you cannot use it through press and media and other means to channel, again, thinking about power structures, so that the blame for our ills or the blame for the reason why things are going wrong is because of somebody else. I think that somebody talked about being adults and having that opportunity to actually be adult about this and think about where are the opportunities for cultures to come together around the table, share their commonality, share their humanity, because that is where real change happens. One of the issues is not thinking about multiple cultures, but how we bring them together to intercultural dialogue. I think as well, it's that looking at the positive impacts that intercultural dialogue, but also many cultures living together has. And there are multiple benefits to multiple communities coming together. And we have absolutely seen that throughout the pandemic, I feel. Every country has examples of communities, very diverse communities, coming together to support each other and offer that humanity towards each other. I think we also have to step back a little and recognise that the populations of this planet have never been static. As humankind, we have moved across this planet for millennia. We have always been refugees from somewhere else. And if we look back in our own family trees, it wouldn't take more than a couple of generations, perhaps, to see that actually there were people from other places, other cultures, other backgrounds. And that is what we should be looking to embrace. How can we embrace the fact that all of our nations are built on the shoulders of people who have come from many, many different cultures. And in doing that, we understand each other. We build on those positives rather than polarizing people through negativity. And I think for me, the role that I see for art, and I loved the example that Pablo gave, art has a particularly great role in bringing very disparate people around the table through a shared common language. It also provides opportunities. And opportunities are exactly at the heart of why we see so much disrespect and so much fear and hatred, because poverty is a huge poverty robs people of opportunity. And when people feel they are robbed of opportunity to progress, to have even the basics, they're looking for where they can channel that blame. Where policy can make a difference is understanding that and looking specifically at programs that can challenge that thinking, that can actually enable capacity build and uplift communities through art, through creativity, through recognizing new ways of working. But as I've said earlier, policy on its own is not enough. How do we ensure that policies filter down to every layer of society, that we challenge without, polarizing again through identity, but that we challenge when things are not right, and that we enable everybody to have a fair, equal say and provide their positions so that everybody understands. Because most people at that grassroots level, it is just a lack of understanding and knowledge, because they may never have encountered those others before. But once they've sat down in a room with somebody and had those conversations, that change is immediate. How can we build policy to enable more of that to happen? Because what we don't want is corporate culture dictating how we are all living. And I think that is where the power structures and struggles are tipping in the wrong direction currently and presenting us with even more challenges and opportunities for intercultural dialogue.